Hey y'all, it's Yobachi with blackperspective.net. I just want to get at y'all about this issue real quick. It is something that's come up again recently, but it's been persistent throughout my entire life. This thing where a number of black people perpetrate this complete and utter nonsense, wherein anytime you criticize anything that black people are doing, there's always an excuse why that black person cannot possibly be in the wrong, especially when you get to talking about collective behavior that's perpetrated by large groups or large swaths of the black population. There's always a good reason for it. It's never the fault of the people perpetrating the behavior. Everything else under the sun is at fault except for the people doing it. And if you say something about it, somehow you're the Oreo. Check like this here. You've got black people who have succumbed to this notion of thug life, and not in some philosophical Tupac sense. Nah. This is about shooting, robbing, killing, raping, taking what you want, and they're doing all this to black people. And let's check the reality on that issue right there. Most crimes committed against any race is committed by that same race. So saying most crimes committed against black people are committed. Most crimes committed by black people are committed against black people. Most of the time, if a white person is victimized, despite what you see in the news, the majority of the time a white person is victimized, they're victimized by another white person, and so on and so forth down the line. Now, you've got people who systematically abuse other black people, destroying their own neighborhoods. And if you say something about that, you stand up strongly against that, you're the Uncle Tom and not the Negro that shoots and rapes and deals poison to other black people. Right? Man, there's this video on YouTube I was checking out the other day, and this belligerent sister is at Disneyland, and something didn't go her way. Somebody touched her son in line, and was trying to told him to move out of line. Probably put his hand on his shoulder or something, whatever. And she's just going irate, ballistic. The kid isn't hurt at all. There's nothing wrong with the kid. They've called security to come rectify the situation. She is just screaming like a complete hysterical wild banshee, berating everybody around her. Nobody's responding to her. Nobody's arguing with her. The people she's berating sat down on the curb. They're letting her go. And she's going and going and going. And some fool, I went on there and said what it is. That is completely gutter, unacceptable, ridiculous behavior by an egomaniac. And some fool wants to come on and respond to me talking about being a black woman in a white-dominated world. If she was a white woman in a black-dominated world, she would behave the same way. Bullshit. My mom grew up in Jim Crow, Mississippi, and would never on her very worst day act anything like that. That is absolute bullshit. And the reason why our people behave this way, and the reason why we can't progress and get better and never will with these enabling thought police, is that we basically encourage a culture of misbehavior that is acceptable because bad things have been done to us, hence and therefore it is okay for us to react in any kind of way. I'm not here discounting racism at all. I'm a person who strongly fights against racism, calls it out everywhere it is, recognizes that we have an external fight against the systems of racism, the systems of white supremacy. Nonetheless, we have an internal problem that some of us want to ignore, and we think that black pride is to make an excuse for any and everything that is done by a black person, and somehow it's black pride is sticking together and standing behind black people no matter how wrong they are. That is ridiculous. That goes against any classic sense of black pride. This is some newfangled modern pop psychology bullshit. Malcolm X never rolled like that. Marcus Garvey never rolled like that. Carter G. Woodson, who wrote The Miseducation of the Negro, one of the main tenets of that book is that black people, even back then, this book is 80 years ago, he was talking about black people losing their moral compass and how that is one of the most degrading aspects to our progression. Malcolm X was quick to scold black people. He scolded black people on a regular basis. In the bullet or the ballot, he talked about how ignorant we are and how we go and cast our dumb vote falling for this okey doke trick of white folks. I mean, traditional classic black power, black pride politics always was scolding black people on the foolishness they were engaged in. Somehow in the last 20 years, the whole script got flipped, and now we're excusing the very detrimental activities and behaviors that are tearing our race apart and that are keeping us from progressing. We will never progress as long as we codify in a petri dish a culture of ignorant ass behavior, disrespectfully walking around with your drawers showing. I mean, I've been sagging since 1988, and when we started doing this way back in the day, it was just this little comfort thing, and it's been exaggerated so far out of proportion. It is ridiculous, and trying to defend any type of nonsense. We've got ridiculously belligerent women. We've got a whole cultural acceptance of thuggery, and it's tearing us apart. And we've got these fools who try to pretend like it's somehow justifiable, and if you're the one speaking against it, you're talking down to black folks. Bill Cosby or Barack Obama says, hey, you need to get your kids out from in front of the TV and make sure they study every night. You talking down to black folk. What? That's all my black elders ever taught me. So I guess my parents are sellouts. Every black adult I ever knew who's ever done something with their life preach that. I mean, routinely. But they're trying to get a corner on this black body politic, where if you actually tell black people what's really good for them, you've got this whole cadre of thought police Negroes who want to come in and try to lambaste you as somehow going against your people for telling your people what's right and trying to get things on the right track. I mean, this is what it's really come to. And these people are a great detriment. They're a greater detriment to our collective progress than the thugs and the hoochie mamas and the unemployed and the criminals out there who aren't doing anything. They're a bigger problem by actually making all of that acceptable and trying to give an out and excuses for these problems, rather than trying to find the solution, rather than understanding we need to be holding each other accountable, black person to black person, sticking a foot up somebody's ass and saying, brother and sister, we got to get it together. We got to work things out. We got to get some get right. And you're not going to get right if you don't even admit that what you're doing is wrong. It's crazy. Man, I'll probably get back on this subject again at some point. Yeah, I'm gonna let it ride on this for now. But the thing is, shit, I think my camera is skipping on my screen. Maybe it's still recording though. But the main thing is we just got to get things together one way or another. We can't allow these people who are codifying self-detrimental behavior. These are like the same people who tell the drug addict, well, you've had a hard life, so it's okay to stick a needle in your arm. Or I don't want you to die out there in the street, so I'm going to go get your crack for you and let you lay up in my house and keep smoking crack. I know you're supposed to stop, but I don't want you to die in the street, so I'm gonna bring some crack to you. I mean, we're killing ourselves. We're killing ourselves. It's not all about the white man. Some of it's about what we got to do for ourselves. All right, Yobachi with blackperspective.net. Link down below. Check me out. Peace.